A man came up to me and said that he was my father. That would be very alarming. This story came April 18th, 2012. This man claims that he was married to my mom before my dad, and she left him for my dad. He says this happened while she was pregnant with me and she put my dad on the birth certificate, and they, my parents and grandfather, used their power and money to make sure he couldn't stay in contact with me. He also claims when I was 5 that he tried again and my dad broke his fingers. He says he is now just contacting me because with my granddad's tragic death last year, it is safe now. Issues with his story. Number 1, he had no documentation, although he's promised to show me some and suggested he bring it to my apartment that he knows the location of. I have concerns. Number 2, I am 20. Why now? 3, my dad is a non-violent man. I can't see him breaking anyone's fingers. He never spanked me when I was a kid and was always the pushover parent. Number 4, my granddad traded stocks. He was hardly a mafia kingpin. Number 5, my parents were childhood sweethearts and are still crazy about each other, in addition to being decent people. He also kept commenting on my money, saying that I looked like a banker. I was wearing jeans and a button-up, asking if my dad gave me my watch and how much my bike cost. He did tell me his name and his number and showed me his license, and I am considering running a background check, but my parents see my expenses. In his favor, number 1, I look like him. Number 2, I've never seen my parents' wedding pictures. Number 3, he didn't seem insane. 4, he knew a lot of information that would be hard to find out about my family. 5, he mentioned a coat that I had as a kid. 6, I am an only child. My mom said that they never got so lucky as to have another. I don't know. I would usually ask my parents, but my mom just got diagnosed with breast cancer and I don't want to worry her or my dad that some psycho is trying to swindle me or harass or harm me. Yeah, but you gotta tell somebody. You gotta tell somebody, because what if that's the situation? I understand that I watch a lot of true crime, so my mind will always go to worst case scenario. I'm sure I'm a blast to be around, but I just always assume I'm in danger. You have to tell someone. All the details part and stuff is like that would be so alarming and like creepy, but also like, how do you know that? He could either be your dad or be a stalker psychopath. Then she added an edit and said, I called my real dad first, deciding that he was a better call than fake dad or the cops until I assessed the situation. I asked if he knew the name. He responded by asking if I was at my apartment. When I said yes, he said he would be here in half an hour. Crap. This isn't good. So yeah, your dad knows that man for sure. Then there was an edit too, a little bit later, saying, oh, he is my biological father. My dad and my mom showed up. He said it was more her story than his. Apparently, when they were married, he was abusive. When she told him she filed for divorce, he pushed her down the stairs and she had to be hospitalized. She decides promptly that he will never get near enough to hurt her child. Her childhood best friend offers to marry her. This is all pretty convoluted. My life and parents are a lot different than they were this morning. So your dad, who you thought was your dad your whole life, your mom's husband, was a childhood best friend that just kind of jumped in the picture and became dad on your birth certificate and in your life ever since. So this man really was, well, I apologize for calling him a stalker psychopath, but quite the approach. Maybe there's a different way we could have went around it. I don't know. My mind is blown. I can only imagine. So I guess OP was answering a lot of questions and giving a lot more details in the comment section. So we're going to find out, because I have a million questions running through my head. I don't know about you. Someone commented and said, what happened after your parents came? I opened the door. I was surprised to see my mom, although I should have known he wouldn't come alone, both because that's not how they do things and because on Tuesdays at that time, he is usually home between business and racquetball. We greeted each other. My mom hugs me. My dad just puts his hand on my cheek and says that I'm everything he could want in a son. I say, so who is this man's name? My mom says I will start at the beginning. I met him when I was 19. He was a moody violinist, and it seemed the right amount of rebellion to fall in love with him. I was hardly the type to date a drummer. And then it unfolded. By the end, me and my mom are crying. My dad is holding her arm, and I don't know why this bothered me, but I asked if they were in love. My dad said, I've loved your mother since I was 5 years old, but we're both so stubborn, it may have taken us 40 years to realize it if we hadn't become a family to protect you. We were going to get a divorce when you were 2, but we were so happy that neither of us brought it up. Then we all laughed a little, and now I'm heading there for dinner in just a few hours. It's a screwed up situation, but my family is still my family, and I'm a lucky guy. This whole situation is just blowing my mind. Next comment, did your dad break his fingers? That's what I really want to know. OP responded and said, yes. My dad said when I was little, my mom caught him watching us in the park and promptly ushered me into the car. He came to the apartment and she went down to the lobby. He cornered her and when his charm by saying, I gave you such a fine son. He's got my looks, doesn't he? I think the least you owe me is a few hours. He grabbed her, leaving bruises, and had to be escorted out by security. He was waiting for my dad outside his office the next day. My dad is angry, but listens to him. Go on. Give a man enough rope to hang himself, he always says. Then he mentions money. He has been deprived of his son. If this continued, reparation only seems fair. My dad decided that you can't stalk his family and shake around his wife without loose threats. So he grabs his hand and twists it until it breaks, telling him that the next time will be his bow hand, and he will never give him a dime or let him ruin his son. Okay, so he definitely broke his fingers. Next comment, how did your parents marry? OP said, my parents claim they married as friends to give me a name other than his and a father to make it difficult should the abusive man ever attempt to use me as leverage. Then they fell in love. Originally, they planned to divorce after a respectable time frame, but they found that marriage suited them. Next question, how are your parents now? They've always been best friends. There's a picture on our mantle of them at 5 years old. Their nannies used to let them play together. They were never romantic, they both claimed. My mom says that her father was so severe and unemotional that she never would have risked the person closest to her for mere dating. Then they got married to protect me, and now they are madly in love. They have lunch together every day. I remember as a kid being embarrassed by how much they touched, that during a sleepover we would walk out and they would just be reading with his head in her lap. They're very happy. Honestly, this story seems completely out of nature for him. He's really mild-mannered, never raised a hand to me. My mom is the more serious partner. Yeah, but you know what? You never mess with a man's wife and his child, you know? I feel like that could set off anybody, doesn't matter how nice you are. Next question, why no half-siblings? OP said, my dad is infertile. I said that weird. Infertile? They tried for years to have another baby and it never happened. Next comment, how do you fairly consider both sides when there's strong emotional and physical evidence of abuse? OP said, honestly, this makes sense. It explains the situation and my mom to an extent, who spends so much time volunteering with domestic abuse charities. Also, you can't fake emotion. We were all practically crying by the end. Plus, he was imprisoned briefly for this, and my mom has scars from where she had to have her surgery on her leg. That man should have, you should have a restraining order against that man. All of you. Then we have an update to the story, which came the next day. After a lot of thought, I've decided that all issues aside, I simply have no interest in this man who has my jaw and some shared DNA. I'm a junior at NYU doing a dual major and overload this semester. Between that and lining up internships, I barely have time to sleep. I have a great family and I couldn't ask for better. I was never that kid who wished his parents were anyone else, except maybe Batman when I was 9. I wish I had more time for them than once a week for dinner and phone calls. I don't wish that I had some extra father figure, and I've got enough friends. If he were a decent man, I might feel like I owe it to him, but considering the fact that his actions resulted in this, and if my mom had stayed, I would have been raised in an abusive home, likely abused myself. I don't feel bad about this. I just feel relieved. I also, for those who are worried about any possible truth from fake real dad, I asked my dad if I could see any of the paperwork on my bio dad just to appease my curiosity, and he appeased my curiosity. The divorce papers were in there. The restraining order. Good. She did have a restraining order. And even pictures of my mom after he shoved her. Yeah, he's a scumbag. He was waiting at my usual coffee shop today. I will find a new one. And basically was pushy and was an a-hole. He never once admitted any kind of wrongdoing or anything. I ended the conversation by saying, "Thank you for contacting me, but I am happy in my life right now. And if I ever change my mind, I will contact you." He then got this weird look of outraged dignity and said that I was an ungrateful little bastard and that if I were richer than my dad, I would be on my knees. Then he said that without him, I wouldn't exist. Said I was his only son and he wished that he didn't have one. Hell, he wished he didn't have a daughter as she was just as ungrateful. So you do have a sibling from him though. Oh. He said a lot more, but that was the gist. I have a dad. It's not this joker. I may look up the sister at some point in the future when I have the time and the mindset to explore that, although she's probably just a kid. Now, he of course answered some more comments and we have a final update. But first, we need a sip of water. Cheers. It's hydration station. Drink your water. Crazy in the wild. Crazy. She has been waking us up every dang night, let me tell you. Oh yeah, stretch from all the sleep you're getting, because we're not. Oh, good thing you're cute. So someone asked, what about your safety? OP said, unfortunately, I think the best thing is for me to take up my dad's offer of a car and a driver until all of this settles. I will also be moving into a rental property that we own because it has tighter access. Example, a doorman has to admit you. I honestly should have been in a nicer apartment anyways, just on the off chance that someone finds out my parents' worth and thinks my place would be nice to case. Your parents sound fancy and successful. Good for them. Next comment. Don't hesitate to get a restraining order if he keeps following you. It's not like you can change schools or jobs every time he looks you up on Facebook. Facts. I think you should maybe get one. Someone else commented and said, you can make your Facebook private too. Just a thought. Or just not put that kind of stuff on there. Next comment, what about your sister? I want to know that too. OP said, I won't contact him about it. I'll have a routine background check and she would probably show up. I honestly don't know what to do about it or how to go about it. What if her life is horrible? I don't really have any power to change it. What if she's like 8 and lives across the country? It seems doubtful that we would connect on any meaningful level. I can only assume she has a caregiver and I hope that it's a good one. Honestly, contact from me won't do much if she was in a bad situation. I'm a 20-year-old kid whose income until my first trust opens is entirely dependent on my parents, and I'm not even legally her brother. It's all just word of mouth. I guess the main point is I see no need to rush. Even if she's in a less than a good place, there's little I can do to change anything. Although I can't help but feel horrible when I think of pictures of my mom that I saw, her face bloodied by his hands and her body bruised because he shoved her down the stairs, and felt bad for any kid that he may have raised. You would definitely just feel like concerned for that girl's well-being if she was raised by him, definitely. Then he gave some additional info about his biological father, saying, I'm dismissing my biological father because he's an abusive a-hole. He pushed my mom down a flight of stairs while pregnant after he knocked her around a little, and she still has a slight limp. To me, That's unforgivable. To me, shared experiences are what bond people anyways. That is why I love my parents. Not because of money or blood. I have no interest in a relationship with him. If he hadn't been abusive, we would have had an obligatory lunch, but I still wouldn't truly want to form a relationship. I would just feel obligated to as a stranger. I just don't want to start something until I've considered the implications. This could be just a negative in the girl's life as it could be positive. It's also possible that she might not be in contact with my bio dad, who I want nothing to do with. Let me adjust your facts. Bio dad did not live near the poverty line. He was middle class, an amazing violinist who taught in the city and did very well. Also, my mom had access to her trust fund during the marriage and contributed a large amount into household income. Their marriage lasted 2 years, not counting the separation. Records of hospitalization go back close to the beginning. The pictures of her after the final incident have her with black eyes, odd in a accidental shove. That's crazy. So crazy. I'm just so happy your mom got out of that. My God. Awful. So awful. We have reached the final update. There's a hair. The final update came 6 months later, October 15th, 2012. I took some time, but eventually curiosity got the best of me about my sister. She's 17 with a 5-month-old, and her background is completely different from mine. We corresponded a little on the internet, but we met today. I drove for 2 hours. She seemed like a nice girl, but I didn't feel like any wow, we are related moment or strong sense of kinship. Maybe I don't know how siblings are supposed to feel. I don't know. Mostly it was awkward. Me and a 17-year-old girl don't have a lot in common. She said I reminded her of someone on Gossip Girl, and that she owned Justin Bieber CDs. But she did reinforce my belief that I'm not doing right by connecting with my bio dad. He hasn't seen her son and hasn't contacted her in over a year. Oh, I'm happy you got to meet though. Just to close the chapter almost, you know? Close the entire book. Burn it, really. Let me know your thoughts and feelings on this one, you guys. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.